Hey guys, we've got some really terrible news, and it's news that, quite honestly, it's just made me feel sick to the stomach, and I didn't want to have to be the one to tell you, but we lost the first 10 minutes of the podcast due to technical difficulties. As I said, I really didn't want to be the one to tell you, but I just hope that you can enjoy it. I just hope you can enjoy it from the 11-minute mark onwards. Thank you. And on behalf of the Daily Dribble, we're sorry.
It's just because he's Australian.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
They're pulling the old Aussie card.
The Aussies don't get the love they deserve. Daily. Giddy.
That's what
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, oh, well.
That's what I jumped to, but they had Vargs in there. Like, I thought it was an international thing, but then I saw Vargs. I was like, okay.
You change that tune. But nevertheless, what a season for Giddy. And all these rookies, this class, you know, the last couple of years we've had names like LaMelo Ball, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. Headline these classes who have really stood out and it's really built anticipation. This year, you know, for us, you know, building Giddy up for the last 12 to 24 months is what's enticed us, but it wasn't a draft class that had a marquee name like that. So I've been incredibly impressed. You know, it's really been an awesome draft. A lot of talent for these teams to build around for the next decade.
Just one on the fly, Nick.
Please.
A guy that we haven't mentioned in a little while.
DD.
Dyson Daniels. Have eighth in the projected?
I don't believe in the projected rankings.
Okay,
so
that's interesting.
What did I say on him? I said
I think you
top
said
3, and I said Daniels was it top 5?
Could have been top
3.
5, top 10, one or the
top
other.
5, I think it was. So he's getting up there.
I hadn't heard of his name in a little while, but I was just wondering if he was still there or thereabouts.
I'll be sure to give you an update, but I have
Please
been reading the latest reports in mock drafts, and a lot have him around that 7 to 8, 9 range.
Okay.
Well, what's the
incredibly exciting?
What is the anticipation for this draft? I haven't heard a lot about it, but like
Chet
last year,
Holmgren's been the big name.
Okay. Because last year we had Cade, we had Jalen Green and Mobley as those big names. So I've only heard Chet really.
Chet kind of reminds me, obviously not in the stature and game style of Zion, but just in the lead up to his, I guess, being drafted, just the mixtapes and just the pre-draft hype around
Tell you
him.
what,
It's been happening
if
for
he
a
goes
long
to
while.
OKC, put him and Pokasevsky next to each other. That's Jesus. That's just a couple of big praying mantises on that team. But,
there was a guy that I saw projected maybe to go third, and he is a big, but he moves like a guard, and I don't know his name. But...
Well, I'm looking forward to. We'll do that in the next couple of weeks. We'll do a bit of a look because it does get us excited for the upcoming draft. So
yeah, absolutely.
Lads, last point for me, Danny Green.
DJ.
Horrible news here. Diagnosed and is now with a torn ACL and LCL there. He turns 35 next month. Now,
not a good time.
It's going to be a long return from injury. We're looking at probably 12 months, 9 to 12 months. That older body is going to take a little bit longer. Could this be the end for him, do we think? Or do you think he'll make a push to come back?
I think my odds would be on him not coming back at all. I think at that age particularly, it's hard enough coming back from an ACL when you're, a young fella just coming up and
like us.
Yeah, but
like you, big boy.
Like me, yeah, I'm hitting my prime. No, I think it's going to be a little too difficult for him. And, not to mention the fact that, let's be honest, his form wasn't great before he went down, old DG. But
could this, if he does come back, could this reignite the spark maybe just for a last little push for the next year or two and maybe become that, that kind of Kyle Korver-esque just shooter off the bench?
Yeah, well, that's all he'd be able to do, I can imagine. Like, coming back from an ACL, he just has to plant himself in the corner.
Yeah.
Just knock it down every time.
You feel a similar way on that one, mate?
Yeah, I hope he comes back. I feel like he'd get a lot more love and praise if he came back after the ACL.
Yeah, there's nothing like an injury to kind of get the people back on your side, is there?
Yeah, and
what do you reckon? Should we all go down with the hammies and quads, ACLs? The people would love us.
Not comparing him to Clay at all, and I know he's older, but if I was him, I'd be getting some inspiration from Clay Thompson. He's come back looking better than ever.
Yeah, it's a funny one because he's won the titles. He's had a hell of a career. It kind of makes you think, yeah, no, because Clay feels like, he's still young and he's still got plenty left to prove. Whereas Danny Green, he's on that back nine. So
it's just a bad way to go out. You don't want to end your career on an ACL.
You want to go out on your terms.
I think it's a good point you make, though, Nick. Like, I think it has to come into consideration. If he was still chasing that ring or if he was still chasing, a major achievement, okay, maybe it's worth going another season or two.
Solidified, really.
Yeah, he's done it. He's got the ultimate prize. I don't think he has much more to chase.
Nevertheless, we hope either way, whichever route he chooses, it is a speedy recovery. There's nothing worse than, suffering an injury like that.
Absolutely. So. Get better, DG.
Indeed. Lads, do you have anything else from the NBA?
Do not.
No.
The NBL. The NBL. The season's over, but the news is not. We're just about to enter free agency here.
I hope you mention it first, Nick, because I can't wipe the grin off my face.
Mate, the news fresh off the press.
I know this. I don't know much about the NBL, but I know this.
Fresh off the press. Our man Scott Roth has signed a new deal as of today. 3 years we're looking at.
Scothy.
We've got him into the 24-25 season. This is the news we've all been waiting for because, this was the big piece. He has been the real catalyst for getting this franchise, building that identity, that hustle, that grit, building the community. His passion has shone through at every moment this season. Couldn't be happier. What a way to bring in the weekend.
Oh, mate, I had the biggest grin on my face when I read this on the socials. Yep. It's our biggest acquisition.
It is.
It really is at the moment.
I really think this will spark. I believe tomorrow night it's the JackJumpers MVP night.
Yep. Heading along. Got a table, Nick?
I haven't. We should have. Next season we will.
Yes. I think we have to dedicate a bit of money.
With the boys, us and all the players together. But I think this news might possibly be a point where we start seeing some of these, maybe these Josh Adams, Josh Majette, look to re-sign as well.
Yeah,
because absolutely. I think he is that glue guy, Scott Roth, and we couldn't be happier to have him in the state for the next couple of seasons. It really is a phenomenal pickup and probably the envy of most teams around the league.
Oh, he really is. He really is. He's brought another dimension to the league. It's almost like before Scothy, there was no one who could instantly
we have BC
bring that
and
culture.
AD, periods in time in history. Maybe we've got SR.
Scothy.
Before SR, after SR.
I feel like
that'll catch.
Yeah.
No.
Keep pushing
questionable.
Keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Can't believe I coined the term or the name Scothy.
Did you?
Yes,
you coined the name Scothy and you didn't even know.
I was about to say, that's a big play for you claiming that. Other news from the NBL during the week. Talk that the Canberra could become the 11th team in the league. We're looking at possibly rejoining in 2024. Now, they last had a team in 2003.
Yeah.
But I think this is fantastic. It's fantastic news for the league. It's so progressive, and they're looking to capitalize on the booming popularity at the moment. And it really does then, become an all-inclusive nationwide league. We just need a team from the NT, and we're laughing. But
is that the only obvious place that's missing out in Australia for the NBL?
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
I think so. I think so. Out of all the major markets, like the Northern Territory, Darwin, probably you wouldn't consider a major market.
And I mean, Kansas are close enough, surely.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll say it's close enough.
I'm not good
smack
with my
bang between
geography.
Terrible.
But it's awesome, and I'd love to see it. And they can really take. I saw Larry Kesselman mention during the week the inspiration taken away from the JackJumpers, and they were saying a lot of them 2024 might be a little bit ambitious. But you saw how quickly we got our things off the ground, the stadium redevelopment, getting the actual infrastructure and processes and front office in place. It really came together quite quickly. So
it seemed to happen in an instant. Now, just one thing I want to mention with the talk of the new Canberra team. Now, if you're a new player, I don't know if you've been to Canberra before, Nicola, but I don't know how keen I. Yeah,
have you?
Yeah, I've been through there.
Have you been to Canberra?
I think we drove up to Sydney once, which was a long drive, and went through the old.
There's not much there.
Sorry, but you're saying this coming from Tassie. Tasmania?
No.
Taz is lovely.
There's not much
Oh,
there.
it's
I remember
lovely,
I did quite a few reports on it. I did a tourism course. Did one on the ACT, and I was really, coming up with not a lot.
No,
there's not much there.
No, unless you're a politician, you're not going to thrive.
Well, what do you reckon? ScoMo in the top job there? Get him as a starting, probably power forward.
Yeah. Well, if you've seen the news lately, he probably needs to go into the rugby business.
Did. He absolutely cleaned up a kid.
Yeah.
Make sure, Tasmanians, whenever you're hearing this, vote tomorrow. It's the big Australian election. We won't get into politics
never
too much
knew
here.
this basketball podcast would turn into that.
Yeah, it's a shaky ground when you get into politics, so we might move on from there. During the week, it was announced News Corp's Matt Logue announced his top 20 players. Now,
in the NBL.
In the NBL, I'm just going to rattle through these,
Yes.
and it's just going to give credence to the fact that how good a shape the league is in. So let me rip through these.
Please
I
do.
won't make the names, but from 1 to 20, Jalen Adams, Bryce Cotton, Xavier Cooks, Mitch Creek, Joe Luala-Chul, Antonius Cleveland, Vic Law, Josh Adams, Jarrell Martin, Jort Reith, Yanni Wetzel, Josh Majette, Shea Illy, Ian Clark, Tyler Harvey, Robert Franks, Xavier Mumford, Chris Golding, Matthew Dellavedova, and Nathan Sobey. Now, what an absolutely phenomenal list of players this is. And that's scratching the surface, the top 20. The league is in such great shape. And I think it's awesome that, tying in with that Canberra point that they're looking to expand because, I keep saying it, I am a broken record. I reuse my catchphrases. I reuse my points.
What is it?
If you haven't already, be sure to check out the NBL next season. Get involved because this league is really, really, really elevating to one of the top tier leagues in the world. And just those names we mentioned there, NBA talent, there is all-time talent in there. So it's awesome to see.
And I was glad to see a few Tassie JackJumpers boy get a gig in there.
Joshy Adams up at 8th, Josh Majette 12. So 2 of the top 12 players in the league coming from our humble little state.
I'll tell you what, at times this year, Joshy Adams has looked like a top 3.
I was about to say, looking at the list, I would, yeah.
I
Good to see friend of the show, Vic Law, 7th
friend of the
as well.
show, yes.
So fantastic news there. And just, again, I allude to, it shows what great shape the league is in.
That was crazy. And I want to mention it again that we had Vic Law on the show.
Absolutely.
I mean,
why is that a surprise? We're heavy hitters here, mate.
No, it's just I'm so grateful that he came on the show.
Absolutely.
A little behind the scenes, but I remembered before that interview, I'd like to take you back and us just waiting for Vic to get on the call. Us never having like a guy of his stature on the podcast.
Yeah, it was big.
It was a huge moment for the podcast, and
go back and watch it and just see our sheepish little grin.
It was a nerve-wracking time, but we'll have to get Vic back on eventually.
Absolutely, we've got the better setup now, better equipment. Vic's, with the Wildcats now, it'd be nice to hear, reviewing the tape from when he was at Brisbane Bullets to now with his connection with Bryce Cotton.
Oh, do you know my favorite bit about that podcast?
I don't know. You tell me.
When he told us when he got I think he was in maybe Orlando or somewhere.
Lakeland Magic.
Yeah. But when he told us he got the call to join the NBL or the proposition, and he just walked us through how he went on like a 20-kilometer walk.
That's right. Yeah.
Go check it out. Go check out that Vic Law pod.
Absolutely. We'll do it again soon.
Spotify.
Guys, let's move ahead.
The Daily Dribble.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to have a bit of an analysis now of what went wrong for last season's finalists. The Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks, both last year's finalists, the Bucks winning that series 4-2. What went wrong for these teams? So let's start in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks went down in Game 7 to your Celtics, Roy, 109-81. So first and foremost, let's talk on Giannis. There is not much more this guy could have done. No. He became the first player in NBA history to record 200 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists in a series.
Yeah.
You can't fault that guy, can you?
Superhuman. Absolutely
Actually,
superhuman. And, the thing with Giannis is he is, on any given night, whether they're full strength or not, heavily relied on to do a lot of the bulk work.
Best player in the league right now, best player in the world?
Yes.
Yep.
Without a doubt, I think. But, particularly having Chris Middleton out in that series as well.
Big point.
So reliant on Giannis. So reliant. He had to do so much. And, credit to Drew Holiday. He was serviceable. I'm not saying he wasn't. But at the end of the day, Giannis, it was pretty much a Giannis
good
verse.
and they got serviceable, wasn't it? They needed him to be good because I think that Chris Middleton point, do they win that series with him?
Yeah,
I
well,
think so.
Yes, they do win
No.
it with him.
Yeah, you've got to say that though. Don't
They
you?
needed that scoring output, and Drew Holiday wasn't it. You look who's next, Grayson Allen. He had a god-awful, terrible series. I hate this
Let's
guy.
rip into
Sorry.
Grayson.
Now, let's touch on that because I had that down in my notes where they went wrong. They went to him far too much. Was it game one? He was pretty good. The last
Game one, he was
maybe
pretty
game
good. He had
or two.
11 points, and that was the most he had in the series.
But that you take that. You take that
Oh, you take
because
it with
in the last 5 games, from games 2 to 7, he was 7 of 30 from the field. Bud just went to him too much. It was just play all 5 of your starters, 48 minutes if you have to. They went to him too much, and it cost them. Like when you're bringing on that guy. All he's really going to do is shoot, and he can't do that. It doesn't bode well.
Do you know where else they went wrong? They didn't want to pay PJ Tucker $15 million for 2 years, and that's where they went wrong. Especially with Chris Middleton down, they didn't have that guy in the corner to pass to.
That 3-and-D guy just to lock down.
Giannis was exhausted. Drew Holiday just couldn't be that guy, and I'm not saying that's bad from Drew Holiday, but yeah.
I mean, I think we mentioned it with just touching on PJ Tucker when we left. I think we said he was going to be an influential loss.
Oh, he was
for the Bucks. He had that championship experience, and he's a lockdown defensive player. Another few guys who I want to touch on who didn't perform anywhere near to where they needed to. Wes Matthews averaged 5 points over the course of that series.
Yeah,
he, along with Grayson Allen, had to have, in my opinion, at least 2 or 3 games where they just light it up from beyond the arc. Because at the end of the day, that's where they're earning their dough, from beyond the arc, and they just did not live up to their paycheck, which
literally,
was
if
really
we were on the call, it probably would have been a pretty similar equivalent. Not doing
similar
much.
production.
You know, it was ordinary.
And even Brook Lopez as well. What did he have in the end? He averaged 8 points for the series. So you look at Giannis and you look at Drew Holiday, they did their parts, but those 3 other starting 5 members were absolutely non-factors throughout the course of that series. No influence whatsoever.
I have something I want to talk about, especially in that Game 7. I thought their defense was shocking. Grant Williams had 27. He made 7 threes.
Yeah, big
This guy averages 7 points per game. How are you letting this guy in a Game 7 score 27 points and have 18 shots from 3, scoring 7 of them?
Yeah, Grant Curry.
That's one of those ones where you kind of you've mucked up because you kind of say the first few, let him fly, big fella. No worries.
Yeah,
we'll let you have them.
You say have it.
But when he starts knocking them down as he was, it's like, right, they just didn't make the adjustment. It was heavy legs, you know. And what a game though! What a game to turn it on, have a career game that was outrageous. What he did, there is no one in the world who would have picked that. Him to light up from 3
absolutely
and
not.
to drop 18 shots.
18
the most
3-pointers.
18 3-pointers.
Not shots. He dropped. Not dropped. He took 18 threes. And
I was about to say 18 threes. He
made
would have been
7.
gone for 50.
Made 7.
Now that would have been something. But yeah, I guess just on this Bucks team, last season's champion, should I say? They've made the conference semi-finals this year. You know, they're missing their number 2 guy. What's the plan? Do they run it back, hope for Middleton back, a healthy Brook Lopez, who they missed for most of the season? They run it back and think they're good enough? Or, you know, what do they tweak, do you think?
My opinion is that they do run it back. I think they're good. At full strength, I do think they're good enough. I think they have to make slight adjustments to their current roster. I'd have to have a look at the contract situation, but I look at guys like Wes Matthews, and I don't see a hell of a lot of upside for him going forward. I know he's just come back to the Bucks, but I don't see him being a highly influential player for them going forward. And I think Connaughton is another player who's just doesn't do much for me and didn't stand up in the big moments. So,
I mean, especially in the playoffs too.
He looked a couple of seasons ago like he could have been a big needle mover.
He did.
And just stagnated.
Just fell off the face of the earth, didn't he?
I want to know why they changed up their roster from last year. What? It just boggles me why you wouldn't pay PJ 15.
Well, that was really the only move that changed, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did they bring Grayson Allen in? I don't know.
I think you've got for the Bucks. I think you've got non-negotiable players. So you've got players who you wouldn't even consider trading. And I'm talking Giannis, obviously. I'm talking Drew Holiday, who I think's key. Chris Middleton's in that conversation, and I think Bobby Portis is probably there as well.
He was serviceable too.
The rest of those blokes, I don't think are guaranteed.
Yeah, and Brook Lopez, I don't think
No,
I
don't
think
think
he's
he's
a trade candidate
yeah,
too.
I'm with you.
With that, just speaking to Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton real quickly before we move on, lads.
Yep.
What do you classify them as? Giannis is your unequivocal number one.
Yeah.
Is Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday a 2, or are they both 3? Like, are they good enough to be a 2?
What do you mean a 2?
Well-
Like a number 2 in a team, like that second go-to guy.
Chris Middleton,
Like
definitely
if you look at
is.
say the Lakers, you've got LeBron, AD's that clear number 2.
Yeah.
I'm putting them both equal too. I think they're both.
So they're
good
both
enough.
2,
Yeah,
do you reckon?
Yep, absolutely. Yep, they've got. I think they've got very different games.
They do.
Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, but I think they've shown in their championship run, particularly last year, that they can step up and be handy second the Robin to Giannis' Batman, so to speak. So,
He doesn't need a Robin. That guy can just let him fight.
he's
crime
Batman,
all night long.
Superman, Iron Man,
I'm
everything.
Batman. Yeah, he's that guy. He's all over it. Lee.
Do it in Giannis's voice. I'm a Batman.
That's not
That
bad.
was good.
He's a couple of Italian descendants there, I reckon, as well, running around a couple of little Luigis.
Doesn't mind it.
Fellas, let's transition to the Suns game, the Western Conference there. The Suns went down to the Mavs, 123-90, and to be fair, it's probably pretty generous. They trailed this game by 46 at one point, which was the largest deficit in a Game 7 in 25 years.
Yep.
Wow, where did it
Goodness.
go wrong?
You literally can't defend any of them. To be down 46 at home in a Game 7.
I thought it was a joke watching it. I thought this can't be live because this
Thought it
is
was a
just,
typo.
this is taking the piss.
Let's see where it went wrong. And I'm going to say it from my perspective. I think and people don't like to say it, and I'm by no means putting the blame on Chris Paul because it's a team game at the end of the day. But I think it started with Chris Paul.
Okay.
Game 2, he scored 28 points. Now, listen to this. From Game 2, he's made 18 shots and committed 18 turnovers.
Yes.
He's had an
Yuck.
awful run since that Game 2. Horrible. And that falls when your leader's down, your team's down, and that's what's happened. But I said it's not all Chris Paul's fault. Let's talk Devin Booker. Awful game as well. 11 points on 14 shots. First of all, take more than 14 shots, okay?
That's the big problem. He was so passive.
Yeah.
After he missed those first couple of shots, he just stopped attacking.
Yeah.
He was just looked like a shell of himself, and that's where you need him to step up.
Yeah.
Well, he's a guy who, you used that word before, passive. He's a guy who people have sort of compared him to, I'm not saying he's Kobe Bryant, but just in the way that he goes about
Killer
taking a
mentality.
shot. He's got that
Yeah.
killer mentality. If he needs to put up 30 shots, then he usually would put up 30 shots.
Yeah.
And on the biggest stage of all in a Game 7 where you need to have that killer mentality, it
Piss the
just
bed.
was not there at all.
Yeah.
No,
sorry, Lee.
That's all I had to say. I think, it started with Chris Paul, but I'm not blaming
And
Chris
Ayton,
Paul.
his size,
Yeah.
he should have been a huge factor with the small ball Mavs lineup. His presence was non-existent. His care factor was not there either.
Say goodbye to that, Max. You're not getting that. Sorry, big boy.
Let's skip to that. Let's ask that question. Do you give him the max?
I don't think so. I think JaVale McGee can come on the court and do pretty much what DeAndre Ayton does. Not as good,
No.
obviously, but
No.
they're pretty much the
No.
same type
No.
of play, and I'm not giving him the max.
this is the
No.
reason you do give him the max.
Yeah.
Because
Give him
CP
the
is
max.
coming to the end of his career
Yeah.
over the next few seasons. DeAndre Ayton will be the second option on that team
course he will.
offensively.
Him and
Awesome.
Booker together.
And I don't think you can. Let's be honest. He had a terrible Game 7. There's no doubt about that. But he showed signs, I think, over the course of his career that he could be one of the
strides he's made
elite
this
big men.
season.
Yeah,
Has really, I think he's setting himself up. He's showing why he was that number one pick. I would still have Luka and Trey head and shoulders above him.
yes, yeah.
But he's showing, why he was selected as that number one. I think you give him the bag straight away. You put his mind at ease. You get him settled, and him and Book. Chris Paul needs to drop back to that number 3 on that team.
Yeah,
Going forward,
yeah,
he needs
absolutely.
to be resting.
Get the walking frame out.
Playing 15 to 20 minutes a night. Let them coast. Let Booker and Ayton control it. Biombo and McGee, for as good as they've been, they are not it.
I mean, they're not it.
They are not it. To be honest, you know what I think they actually missed? Or who they missed?
Oh, yeah.
Have a guess. Have a guess of a name.
Who was even out?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone who could knock down a shot.
Dario Saric.
Nah, you don't miss
I think they missed him just having a smaller ball lineup that could combat what the Mavs were doing because they were flying around hitting threes everywhere. They went 19 to 39 in this game, 49%. They just needed someone with a little more mobility just to be able to kind of combat the threes that were being knocked down. So I think he's a piece that would have helped. And I think what may have contributed is the fact that they got blown out in Game 6 as well, 113 to 86. Confidence is key. Momentum's key. And they gave too much of it to the Mavs. And they carried it straight through to Game 7. And we know anything can happen in a Game 7. Here's a fun fact, though, for you. Here's a real fun fact. This got me. This got me on the chuckles. Fun fact. When Frank Ntilikina was matched up on CP3 or Book, they went 3 of 40. 3 of 40 from the field. Frank Ntilikina.
Frankie boy, the lockdown king himself.
Frankie Smokes. Who would have picked that? He's been almost a non-factor this season, and he held 2 of the best players in the league to 3 of 40 matched up on him.
Frankie was almost out of the league not too long ago.
Are you serious? How's that?
Yeah, I know. That's unbelievable. That's a big stat. It is a fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
It lived up to it.
Mate, that is how you buy yourself more playing time next season. That's how you start to kind of reset your career.
Yeah.
You know, you show that you can do that against the best of the best. People are going to look at you in a different way, and I'm kind of making a joke of it, but I'm serious. Really, you know, he's got a place in the league, and that's a phenomenal performance what he's been able to do. So
that's incredible.
Fair play.
I don't know about you guys, but I think as soon as it got its way to a Game 7 this series, you felt the Mavs were going to take this one because let's be honest, all the pressure in this series were on the Phoenix Suns.
Absolutely.
They had the weight of the world on their shoulders to win this series.
Yep.
And Dallas and it really showed in the way that Dallas played. Like they were playing almost carefree. They were playing with that much confidence because they knew that, yes, we do want to obviously win this series, but if we lose it, it's not like we're going to be hounded by the media. Whereas you look at the Phoenix Suns and, you know, they look like a team. They look like their sphincter was that tight throughout the course of that Game 7. It was awful. Yeah,
clenched up real tight.
Couldn't fit a pin up there. It was shocking.
I tell you what, I feel bad for the fans. This team, you know, has been pretty much poised, primed, and ready since the last finals, ready to go. This was their year. This was meant to be the year. They were going in red hot favourites.
Yeah.
You know, and they looked at the most dominant team in the league this season, best overall record. Things were progressing, you know, they got tested against the Pelicans, but we thought, I thought that's for sure. That was good. That kind of might make them, you know, just up the ante a little bit. But they've got to fight. But the fans, you know, this game was over quick, smart. And to go out without a fight, with a whimper, it's tough. And I think this might have been their best chance.
Yeah.
You know, Booker's going to develop a bit next season.
Closing.
Aiton's going to develop. You know, you've got great players, Cam Johnson. You know, the roster is still there. It's still intact. It's still like really good. But
West is getting strong as well.
The West is going to be strong.
This is the point. Yeah.
Chris Paul's getting a bit older. You know, you saw the Nets go out early this season. You saw the Bucks go out. You know, the Clippers with Paul George, Kawhi back. All these other little teams, all these factors coming in. I think this was their big opportunity. And I hate to say it, I don't know if Chris Paul's going to end up with a title when it's all said and done.
I don't think this was his last chance. Sorry, but it was. Before we move on, I think it'd be criminal if we didn't mention Jason Kidd throughout this. Is this his first year coaching the Mavs, and he's brought them to the Western Conference Finals. The way he constructed the defense just to shut down the Suns, and he did it by attacking Chris Paul. You attack that front runner, the guy who facilitates the whole offense, and they break down. And
biggest move they made this season was getting rid of KP. Getting rid of Porzingis, embracing the small ball lineup. Dinwiddie has been just Dinwiddie 2.0. This team, like, no doubt over the next few weeks, we're going to speak a lot about the Mavs, but
you look at like Dinwiddie from the Wizards, and then you see Dinwiddie dropping 30 in a Game 7.
I like to admit when I'm wrong, and look, Dinwiddie has made me eat my words because not me. Let me put it this way.
I always loved Dinwiddie.
Let me put it this way: when he was at the Wizards, I thought he was a god awful player. I thought when he came over,
you don't want to hear god awful. You know,
I don't want to use Lee's catchphrase, but I had to bring it out. And when he came across to the Mavs, I wasn't convinced because I had it was sort of like recency bias to a certain extent. I was like, oh god, this guy can't play for shit. And then he's been I wouldn't say elite, but he's been so valuable for that Mavs lineup, and he's been a sort of contributor as to why they've gone as far as they have.
Absolutely,
along with Luka.
Absolutely, Luka Magic indeed. So let's transition, guys.
The Daily Dribble.
I love saying let's transition, and then
press
on our board, it's got like underneath. When we were setting it up, we were all a bit unsure how to use it, so we wrote what each button was.
Yes.
And under that button, transition. That's good.
The OCD in me loves that.
Yeah. Me too.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a real stickler for stuff like that, so it's really good for me. Lads, the conference finals. There's been 3 games so far, 2 from the East, 1 for the West. We might start with the East. Just quickly, I guess, recap what's happened in the 2 games, and then just discuss our thoughts on it, what we see happening moving forward, and if our predictions have changed at all.
Yep. Game
1 in the East there. The Heat won that one 118-107. Really great first half from the Celtics, but after halftime, the Heat put the foot down. They won the third quarter 39-14. Jimmy Buckets, 41 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals. Had an incredible showing. He loves it. He's the man.
He loves the big moments.
He lives for this. Game 2 today, a little bit of a different case. The Celtics winning this one 127-102. Not much to really say on this one, that it was over pretty early, probably halfway through the second quarter. A lot of contributions there from the Celtics. Probably, was it 5 guys they had over in double digits points, I think 3 over 20. Really well-rounded team performance. So, we're 1 apiece. The series now heads back to Beantown, back to Boston there. How are we feeling about it? Ro, as our resident Celtics fans, do you feel, happy going in at 1 apiece? Are you happy with what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I've certainly got a glass half full approach at this stage.
You always do, mate. You're making lemonade out of lemons.
I'm a positive man. But no, lemonade out of lemons.
I thought I said it the wrong way for a second. I was like, oh.
I'm glad you paused and then realised,
good.
Okay. But I think taking 1 on the road, particularly given the fact that we didn't have Marcus Smart or Al Horford in that game 1, when I saw those blokes were out prior to the tip-off, I think we all kind of had that feeling that it was going to be an L. But to take game 2 on the road with those guys back, Marcus Smart, he was arguably the best player.
Oh, arguably.
1 rebound away from a triple-double today. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a 20.10 assist triple-double as well, which was crazy. So I think we head back to Beantown with a lot of confidence. If you're the Boston Celtics, I think you're in the prime position at the moment. Got my green glasses on, obviously, but I think we're in a great position to take it up to the Heat. I still think it's going maybe 6 games.
The Boston were going in as favourites for this series.
Yeah, I think they would have been as well. Even though, is that strange given the fact that Miami finished with the first seed, or given it was also close, do you reckon?
No, I think that's probably fair too. The way the Celtics have been going the second half of the season, the way they've carried themselves throughout the playoffs. I wasn't surprised to see that. Lee, for yourself?
I think, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think Boston are going to take this one. I think just any guy we've seen, especially in the playoffs, any guy can step up any given night. And like I've said before, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are always going to. But now you have Marcus Smart dropping a 24 near triple-double. Al Horford has been brilliant. And now we know
revitalized.
Yeah. And now we know Grant Williams can drop 27. So if Miami want to have any chance in this series, they're going to need all their guys to step up, because Jimmy Butler's not going to go in and score 41 every night. Okay. So, but I still think Boston are going to take this series and go to the finals.
Yeah. It's,
you're not going to want to be around me if Boston make it to the finals.
Why not?
Just intolerable, really.
Yeah, I reckon.
Might have to take a week off the pod.
Yeah, please. Mate, you won't have to take a week off. You'll be fired for the week and then reinstated.
Yes.
Interesting start. Interesting start to this series.
Exciting.
It's going to be very, very reliant. Like we all know what we're going to get from Jimmy Butler. As we said, this time of the year, he comes into his own. He's not an 82-game player. He's a 16-game player, or however many they go for the playoffs. Like, this is where he comes into his own. So we know he's going to work hard and just be an absolute dog on both ends of the floor. But it really is reliant, on what else they get. Bam Adebayo today, 6 points, 2 assists. It is not good enough.
Nowhere near
He's
good
the
enough.
number 2 on this team. It is not good enough at all.
Mm.
PJ Tucker, 5 points. Max Strus, 6 points. Gabe Vincent had 14 as well, but that's just starting 5 there. It's not good enough to contend with a team like Boston that have so many options at the minute that are all firing on all cylinders.
Anyone know what the status of Kyle Lowry is? Because he would make a huge impact. It might
You
not
think
be.
so? He was playing himself off the court before he
Okay,
went down.
not stat numbers, but he's been to the finals and he's won. So I think.
But they need him on the court at the minute. Like,
Yeah.
they need him to perform.
That's what I'm saying.
stat-wise.
Yeah, okay.
So
But where is he? That's
Jack
my
Gold.
question.
He should be back pretty soon, I believe.
When he comes back, though, does he come back in a bench role?
No.
No, Gabe Vincent will go to the bench, I would imagine there.
Even with the form struggle?
Maybe it depends when he comes back. If it's say game 3,
Yeah.
I reckon he comes back on the bench. And you know, it is what it is. That first game on the road, if you take the L, so be it. But really try and gear up for game 4, have him back starting, fit and firing, and try and get that one so it's all tied up, heading back to Miami.
And I say put him in game 3.
Yeah.
If he's been playing bad, put him straight back in there after a little bit of a break, so you can kind of reset. It's
Depends
kind of a
what the
reset.
status is of that injury, though. Like if he's back 100%, or if they test him at 80.
I don't mind him leading the second unit, to be honest with you. I think just from a leadership perspective.
Him finding Hero, he
Yeah.
would just open up so many good looks for him.
Yeah.
On
Because
the
you
fast
need
break, hitting him in the corner.
I think it goes overlooked almost. You need those type of elite leaders on your bench.
Because you got Jimmy in the starting lineup. He can lead
First
that
and
in
second
terms of
unit,
a vocal and I guess output-wise leader as well.
I heard. Sorry,
No, please.
sorry, something just sprung to mind. I heard JJ Redick say today that you won't win a championship unless you have a top 5 player on your team, and he kind of went into the past championship winners. Do we agree with that? Do I agree? And then I'm thinking, do all of these top 4 teams have a top 5 player? I don't know.
Interesting one.
If you
Top 5
okay.
player at the moment. No, I do. No.
Are we
Like-
talking about Miami?
I'm talking about the whole I'm talking about both series.
You could argue
Luka,
Luka's a
Tatum.
top 5 player. Curry's a top 5 player.
In the playoffs, Jimmy's a top 5 player.
Yeah, Jimmy's a top 1 player.
Yeah.
I need to tell you, if you want to have a laugh and a good experience, watch ESPN with Pat Bev on it. It is actually the
he's
best
value.
thing.
He's
Oh,
value.
that was
I so
amazing.
hope we have him and Draymond Green on a call together.
He's going straight into the media
Oh,
after he's
Those
playing
guys
after he's
just
over.
would. It's like the second coming of Shaq and Big
Big
Chuck.
Charles. Yeah.
Like,
Just- he
how
just-
good would they be?
He
value
talks so much smack.
I love it.
I don't know if you saw him
Yeah.
call CP3 a cone on defense, but
I tell you what, it's quite rare to come across like current players smack talking
I love it.
other
Current
current players in the
That's
media.
wicked. That's
It- yeah.
wicked. I love it.
It-
I think it's great.
It's funny.
I was
More of it.
with ESPN. I was like, when Max Kellerman left, I was like, who's Stephen A going to argue with? But I love how like Pat Bev and JJ Redick's coming on. I enjoy watching it.
It's like complete opposites, like the contrast of JJ Redick, who speaks logic, and everything that comes out of his mouth is just common sense, and it's widely agreed on by the basketball community. Then you look at Pat Bev, and
Not
he
so
just says
much.
whatever he wants, doesn't care if it's
No,
true or
I'm
not.
here for
You
it.
know what I love about JJ Redick on ESPN real quick? He's logical, but he's not afraid to get in fights. Even with
No.
Stephen A. He gets angry at him.
The reason
Good.
he's not afraid to get in fights, though, is because he knows his basketball that well that any
Yes.
argument that Stephen A comes up with, he knows he can
Yeah.
counter it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
In regards to that series, I'm going to say Heat and 7. Still.
Really?
I'm going to stick with
Okay.
Heat and 7. It's going to be key in getting Kyle Lowry back, and hopefully a healthy and productive Kyle Lowry.
Mm.
And I think key to that, absolutely. They can't go back to Miami 3-1, so they've got to
No.
get one in Boston here.
Mhm.
Game 3 or game 4, it is a must.
Vital.
So looking forward to it. Hell of a series.
Mm.
Let's transition to the West. Warriors won that one. Game 1, 112-87. It was a funny old game. Again, a game that was kind of pretty over quickly. We had the second units coming in for a lot of it. Curry, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. Probably Wiggins was best on in this one, 19 points, but
Wiggins.
Yeah, what he did on both ends of the floor defensively, clamps on Luka, and getting that offensive output was huge. So yeah, a very comfortable and convincing winning game one there, lads.
You can really see the fire in Luka's eyes, though. Like I think this motivated him more than anything. To be honest, I don't know if you saw
20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Was a complete non-factor in the second half, but yeah, he's again another guy like Jimmy Butler, built for these moments.
Yeah, and I know they went down by a lot, but this series is far from over, in my opinion.
Oh no, absolutely.
You can never write the Mavs off.
They went down. They've gone down 2-0 in both their series so far. So you certainly can't. No one's writing them off yet.
Have you guys watched The Lion King?
Yeah.
Lion King? You're familiar
I don't
with
think
Scar?
I don't think I've seen the remake. The new
Remake's
one.
good, but yes, familiar with Scar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scar, familiar with Luka? Luka
Luka
Doncic?
Yeah.
Looking very similar at the moment, those two. Looking very similar.
Yeah.
He's looking like Dr. Evil or something. Like he got a big scratch over his face.
Wiggins, wasn't it?
How was it?
Yeah, he got him good, but I like it. He looked like a bad man.
Yeah, he could be a villain in a
bad man.
big rock movie or something.
Big rock movie. Dwayne Johnson taking down Luka in an epic battle for the ages. Wow, how would that be?
Love it.
Mavs in this one though, it's going to be like it's what we've seen so far. I'm going to continue to see. Their game is predicated on them making shots. Yeah. They got good looks in this one, and it was just one of them games where they didn't fall. Especially in that first half, Jason Kidd, the halftime report, he was happy with the way they were going. They were getting the looks they wanted. They just weren't dropping. So, it is what it is. I don't think by no means you never want to see it yourself go down by 25 points in game one, but they were playing the right way.
They were,
but I think the big point for them going forward is they've got to get Kevon Looney off the floor. They've got to get him into trouble and get that big off the floor just to open the lane for Luka, for Dinwiddie, to Brunson to drive, use their athleticism. Not so much Luka, that doughy athleticism that we've come to know and love. But I think that's key. I think that is key for them because they looked very one-dimensional, just very reliant on that 3 ball. So if they can get Looney off, open that lane up and drive and attack, then look for kickouts, that'll give them just another facet to their game.
Couldn't agree more.
This is an all-time high rebounding game for Steph Curry, 12.
Yeah, 12 rebounds.
You know what? When you read that stat line out, that's a weird stat line for Steph Curry.
12 rebounds. He's been rebounding the ball well. He's been shooting free throws poorly by his standard, 83% at the minute. He's one of the greatest free throw shooters in the history of basketball, yet he's been struggling, but he's making up for it on the glass.
I don't know if you're watching it. I thought I was dreaming the other day. I think he missed his first 3 or missed 3 of his first 4.
3 of his first 4 because he missed 2, then he made the 3rd one, then missed the 4th, I believe it was.
That was bizarre. I don't think that's ever happened.
I don't know if you look at him when he misses one, but he absolutely beats himself up for even missing one.
Yeah, so he should.
God, he chews down that mouth guard, doesn't he?
He does.
So how often do you reckon he goes to him?
One a game.
Choose 1 in half a game. Yeah.
They're expensive.
You reckon he's short of a quid?
No, I'm just giving some background knowledge.
No, absolutely. For me though, the Mavs just looked a bit tired in this one. I know it was a blowout in game 6 and 7, but a lot of their shots were hitting front of the rim, a bit short, and they just didn't look like they had their legs under them. Again, adjusting to the pace that the Warriors play with. I think they'll get up to speed very quickly and they'll come back with a real fire in game 2 there.
Yep, particularly at home when they go back home.
Game 3 in Dallas is going to be rocking. Mark Cuban will be going off his absolute nut. Big Dirk there, no doubt.
Big XL.
Big XL. Yeah. Dustin, shout out to him. He would be, sorry, Leo, I keep going just as you go to speak that. He would be roughing it right now.
He would be going at it.
Luka Magic indeed. That's gonna be rocking there on game 3.
Yep.
I was just gonna say game 2 after a 25-point loss is very impactful. The outcome is very impactful.
Yep.
If they lose, their confidence is near 0.
You reckon?
Yeah.
They've, as I said though, they've lost both those series their first 2 series 2-0.
I see where you're coming from. The mentality side of things, I think if they lose this second game, I don't think it's over. But if they have their first 2 games in this series as blowouts,
that's the key.
Yeah. I think it does do a number on their mental state for sure.
Yes.
If it's a 20-plus game again, I think I get what you mean there.
Which is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
You got to be specific, don't we? Like,
Yeah, I'm
no, I'm with
There's
you
a
though.
little
And
report card
I
for
think
you.
you never want to go back to home just getting flogged in your first 2 games. But the Mavs have shown they're here to fight. So, lads, how do we see this series panning out? What's the feel now? It's only been 1 game, but what have you got for us, Lee?
I still think the Warriors are going to take it to the finals.
Yeah, look, on paper, I think the Warriors
Championship
will win.
pedigree. It's shining through. It shone through in game 1.
There's something about the Mavs, though. There is something about the
There
Mavs
is.
that intrigues me.
Yeah.
And, you know, they sort of, to a certain extent, proved everyone wrong in that last series against Phoenix Suns. I
Even
can't...
maybe series 1 against the Jazz there. Like,
Yeah.
it was a bit of a coin flip, but they, made tidy work of them.
Dallas in 7.
Okay.
Ooh.
7.
7 indeed. I've got Dallas in 7 as well. I'm with you wholeheartedly. I'm all aboard this train. I think they are so fun to watch. The way they go about it, like they're not going to die wondering, are they, with their shots? And I love it. Luka, this is his chance to cement himself already at 23 as one of the best in the world, which is no doubt.
Absolutely.
Almost think the Warriors almost might be being underrated a little bit. Just all the hype surrounding, the Suns and the Bucks going into these finals. They've looked a little bit lackluster. Even I said, and I kind of made the case, Klay Thompson has looked a bit washed, a bit slow in his return. No Gary Payton. I think there's almost people are almost kind of dismissing them. But they are a top quality team. That championship experience is undeniable. But I'm with you. I'm all aboard the Dallas train now. I hope they win it. I reckon it would be wicked.
It's hard
just for XL to come out with a championship song.
Yes, make it happen. Oh,
Hey, Luka Magic.
Such a tune, man. I can't wait. I don't know. Is it
Lee, who sings that song?
XL.
Leave it to him then.
I think it's October, November normally that Spotify give you your kind of yearly report on what songs and artists. I tell you what, I reckon at the minute that is number 1 by a fair bit for me. I've had it on repeat. It's such a banger.
So you guys are obviously barracking for Mavs in this series, right?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to too, but I know
Well, why don't you?
I know they've had their rings and they've had their fair share, but just to do it again after like the injuries and after they were down for a little bit, to come back up and do it.
And even though they started without Durant and they got that title, I think them for Curry getting another one without Durant, like as we said last week with the boys from Fifth and Dribble, what an episode that was, by the way, with Maddie and Locke. Shout out to you lads. That was a hoot and a half.
Hoot
and a half, absolutely. But
catchphrase, coin it.
Yeah, shit. What was I saying now?
About full circle.
Yeah,
no Durant.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
That adds to Curry's legacy. Like it absolutely does.
does.
Like getting that another title without him, just showing he's the man, possibly a Finals MVP. It would be huge for his legacy. But it's all about the new blood, isn't it?
Yeah,
the young blood.
It is.
Oh, it's exciting though, isn't it, lads? It's honestly the best time of the year. The NBA playoffs. There's nothing like it. Sports, basketball fans and sporting fans alike. Just, it's been awesome just having it all week on at work. The traction it's getting, it's wicked. Everyone is so heavily invested, and it's awesome having a bit of an underdog team like the Mavs.
Yeah.
Just quickly, you can't be going for the Mavs, can you? Surely not to win the title, mate. You got the Beantown boys in there.
No. Mavs to win this series. Mavs to win this series.
No, good. I thought you might have just thrown the towel out already and jumped on board the Luka train.
Wouldn't have thought so, but it's Celtics Mavs
mate,
series.
If you look across there, it's just in view for our video watchers there. That signed Luka jersey of yours.
I'll tell you what.
You want them to win the title, mate.
Yeah, you would.
The value
from
straight to the moon, my
from
man.
a stockbroker point of view.
Wow. What did you say we were earlier on in the show? Businessman?
Businessman.
Think like a businessman.
That all I'm seeing is dollar signs when I look at that jersey.
Yeah, you can see the deflection in your goggles there, can't you? That's good.
Let me ask, is it possible that next week we'll have a finalist?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
no,
I think
they're
both
both
of
going
these,
deep.
it wouldn't be surprised if both went 7.
A lot more likely, I think, for the Warriors than Boston. That is
no, but I'm saying if Warriors somehow win in 4, would that happen this week?
I was just saying it's a lot more likely than it being in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think they're both going deep.
Yeah, me too.
Geez, I'd be flat if either of these series went in 4.
Yeah, me too.
You want it to, like, yes, let's get into the finals. Yes, let's.
Well, the East can't, one apiece now, so that won't be happening, which is
Yeah,
good.
but that Warriors Mavs series.
No,
Luka won't let that happen.
That's not happening.
No.
He won't go out without a whimper. Lads, what an episode. It's been jam-packed, action-packed, as always, and it's sure to be an action-packed week. It's incredible. The news is going to be non-stop, guys. You've got to be sure to stay up to date with all of our socials. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Lee, do the finger counting with me. I love it.
We're on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn. Be sure to reach out any business-minded people. I love
you. Love a connection. I'm on LinkedIn, but you're more of a networker on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I've got some good connections.
Yeah,
I've got some heavy hitters.
You go for the big dogs.
No mucking around. No prizes for second. So reach out on LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn, that's good. There we go. We'll plug that. But be sure to stay up to date with us. All the news, all the breaking alerts, the scores. We will be posting it all. Lots coming up, guys. Let me ask you quickly. Which series are you most excited for? I know, going forward, what you've seen so far. Which series gets you more jacked?
Beat Boston.
Do you know the thing is? Yes, I'm a huge Boston fan, but I feel like almost like the underdog status of the Dallas Mavericks in that series against the Warriors has me more.
An underdog.
It has me more intrigued than anything. Obviously, I want Boston to make the finals, but that Mavs Warriors series, I'm intrigued, and I don't, even though they've lost that first game, do not write off the Mavs.
100%. I'm with you there, mate. Oh, come on, bring it home, Luca. It's awesome. Guys, it has been a massive episode. We certainly appreciate all your continued support. As we said at the top of the show, be sure to like, subscribe, share, wherever you listen to the show. Do all that good stuff. Us as a team, we certainly appreciate it. Lots of big stuff coming for the team. We can't wait to share some upcoming exciting announcements. So tune in each and every week. But till next week, guys, from myself, Rowan Lee, love you, bye.